Hello and welcome to Pokemon Era. I'm TD and today we're unboxing a box of 10 Pokemon cards I got from PSA a while ago, and I'm just unboxing them to see what cards we got. They come in this nice box, and let's get them out of here and see what grades I got. The card we were looking at is a 1999 Pokemon game-based Blastoise, the Holo Shadowless version. It's an unlimited card, the number 2. Looking at this front surfaces of this card, it doesn't look too bad, but there is some issues with there's a scratch, there are actually 2 scratches to the right of Blastoise, one right by his tail and one closer to the yellow border. Speaking about the yellow border, there is some dirt on it, especially one speck you can see up by the upper left corner. Going to our edges and our corners, there's some damage to the lower right corner. Flipping this card over, you can look at the surface of the card, and there is actually a couple of bends. There's or creases on the back of this card that you can see. If you look at the upper edge, and you can see there's lots of damage there, and there's some down the right side, and basically the 2 right corners have some edge damage. And with the scratches and all the other damage, I don't expect a good grade, and we're going to get one of good 2. Wow, that is pretty low, but not unexpected. Let's take a look at this 1999 Pokemon game-based Pidgeotto, the number 22 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, I see no damage to the basic surface of it. It looks really good. Our centering doesn't look too bad from the side to side and top to bottom. I think it's within tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, they look really good until you take a close look at the lower right of the front here. There is a bend or a ding on that corner that I think will affect the grade. As we turn it over to the back, you can see that the back is just as nice as the front. The centering is really good. I don't think there's any problems there. Looking at our surface, I don't see any issues, no scratches, no creases or any damage. Our edges and our corners look really clean, except matching that left right front. Lower is this left lower ding or bend on it, which I know is going to affect our grade. And that's going to give us a grade of excellent mint 6. That could have been better. It would have probably been a 10 without that bend or ding. I'm excited to show you this 1999 Pokemon game-based Charizard, a Holo, the number 4 card. This is the card that everybody really liked. Looking at the front surface, the Holo looks great. The front surface is nice and clean. Our centering looks within tolerance, and our corners and our edges, I don't see any problems that we should talk about. As we turn this card over and I look at the back, my excitement starts to go away. We have no damage or anything to the surface of the card, and looking at our centering, it looks way within tolerance, but once we get to our edges and our corners, the upper edge has quite a bit of damage, and our 2 right corners and our lower left corner all have damage. And that's going to give us a grade of excellent mint 6. Not too bad, could have been better, but it's still a pretty valuable card. As we look at this 1999 Pokemon game-based Charmeleon, the number 24 card, Charmeleon looks really good. The surface looks pretty nice. I don't see any major damage. There is some slight dirt on the yellow upper border, speck up there just above the stage 1. Looking at our centerings, talking about the borders, they're slightly towards the bottom from the top to the bottom, but our side edges look pretty good in tolerance. Our edges and our corners, I don't see any problems there. As I look at the back of the card, our centering offset continues to the back where it's towards the bottom. Looking at our surface of the card, there is some type of blemish on the upper right corner of the border, the blue border. There's some type of blemish there. And looking at our edges and our corners, our 2 right corners look to have some edge damage, and I think there's some slight damage on the upper edge. And with all that damage to this old card, our grade's going to be a excellent 5. Wow, these old cards aren't doing too good in this batch. I'm taking a look at a 1999 Pokemon game-based Gyarados, a holo, the number 6 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, the holo looks great. I don't see any damage, scratches, or bends or anything like that. Looking at our centering, from top to bottom it looks really good, but from left to right I think it's out of tolerance to the right. And finally, our edges and our corners, I see no damage at all. As we turn to the back, you can see that the centering offset continues to the back, and so it's off to the right. For the back, it's probably within tolerance. Looking at our surface, it looks really clean, and as do our edges and our corners. I don't see any damage to them. And with that off centering, our grade is going to be a mid-9. I like that for that old Gyarados. Let me show you a card I probably shouldn't have sent in. It is a 1999 Pokemon game-based Dratini, the number 26 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, there's quite a few things wrong with it. First thing you notice off the bat, there's quite a bit of dirt or staining on the front of this card. Then when we get to the centering, it doesn't look too bad. It might be towards the bottom a little bit, probably out of tolerance. But looking at our edges, our top edge and our both side edges definitely show damage. And looking at the back, it doesn't get much better. Our centering is off towards the left and to the bottom. Our surface looks okay. Looks like there might be a couple white specks on it and some other stuff. But looking at our edges, we have quite a bit of damage on the top edge and the right edge. And with that, we're going to get a grade of excellent 5. I'm actually surprised at that. I thought it'd be worse, way worse. Let's take a look at a card that almost everybody has. A 1999 Pokemon game-based Machamp, a holo first edition. They gave this one out to a lot of people as a promo. It's the number 8 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, Machamp looks really good. You can see some of the holographics reflecting in the light. This is the first edition. Looking at our rest of the surface of the card, it looks good. Our centering, I think, is within tolerance, and our edges and our corners, I don't see any damage. As I look at the back of the card, you can see that the surface looks good. Looking at our corners and our edges, well, let's go to the centering. Centering looks pretty good. I don't think it's out of tolerance. Getting to our borders and our edges and our corners, if you look down the right side about 2/3 of the way, there's a little bit of, looks like some white specks or something on the blue border, and our 2 right corners have some damage. And that's going to give us a grade of mid-9 for old Machamp. That's pretty good. We're looking at a 1999 Pokemon game-based Growlithe, the number 28 card. Look at the front surface of this card. The graphics look really clean and nice. There's no problems there. Looking at our centering, I think it is off to the left, out of tolerance, but probably within tolerance from top to bottom. Looking at our borders, there's a blemish about 3/4 of the way down the right side in the yellow border. Looking at our corners and our edges, I don't see any problems with them. As always, we look at the back of the card and you can see that the surface looks really good. Our centering looks slightly to the right and towards the top, probably within tolerance, but possibly not. Looking at our edges and our corners, the upper edge and both right corners and the lower left corners all have some damage. And that's going to give us a grade of near mint 7. Could have been better. I wish it would have been better. This was a really nice card when it came out. It is a 1999 Pokemon game-based Mewtwo, a holo number 10 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, the holographics look pretty good. Our centering, I think, is within tolerance on the front of this card. Looking at our edges and our corners, I don't see any damage that I will think will affect the grade. As we take a look at the back of this card, you can see that it looks pretty good. I don't see any damage to the surface of the card. Looking at our centering, it looks like it might be slightly to the left, which could take us out of tolerance for a 10. But looking at our corners and our edges, it looks like the 2 right corners have some slight damage. And that's going to get us a grade of excellent mint 6. That's a robbery. That's highway robbery. That's a lot better card than a 6. Let's check out a 1999 Pokemon game base Ivysaur, a number 30 card. The front surface of this card looks really clean. I don't see any problems there. Looking at our centering, I think it's within tolerance from top to bottom and left to right. Looking at our corners and our edges, I don't see any problems there. I think this is going to be a really good card. As we turn this card over and look at the back, the surface looks clean, no bends, no breaks or anything like that. Looking at our centering, I think it's within tolerance from right to left and bottom to top. Looking at our edges and our corners, there's some damage across the top edge, and looks like I think all four corners have very, very slight damage. And that's going to give us a grade of excellent 5. I've seen worse cards get a better grade. Wow. I hope you enjoyed this video and the grades that I had for inspection and for our grade review. And please subscribe and like, and don't forget, you got to catch them all. Have a great day.